The corridors of the starship Aegis hummed with a low, anxious vibration as Lieutenant Kai Nakamura pressed his back against the cold steel wall. Red warning lights flashed, painting his face in jagged shadows. He could hear the Queen's roars echoing through the hull, deep, otherworldly, impossible to ignore. Every instinct screamed to run, but he couldn't. Not now. Not when the fate of the entire human fleet rested on him. The alien Queen was enormous, her translucent skin shimmering with violet veins that pulsed like lightning beneath a storm. Her mandibles clicked, a language of power and threat, while her eyes, two liquid pools of amber, scanned the room with unsettling intelligence. Kai's heart thumped so loudly he feared she could hear it. He clutched the ceremonial blade at his side, its metal gleaming with humanity's last hope. He remembered the council briefing. She negotiates through strength. She will test you, Kai. Do not falter. But no briefing could have prepared him for the sight of her stepping into the chamber, her spindly legs moving like liquid silk over the polished floor. And then she stopped, head tilting, as if recognizing something familiar. Kai swallowed hard, his voice catching. You don't have to fight. He didn't know why he said it. Part of him expected her to strike, to crush him for his audacity. But instead she hesitated, her eyes narrowing, not in rage but curiosity. A tremor ran through the ship and a side panel exploded outward. Sparks danced across the ceiling. Kai fell to one knee, shielding himself. When the debris settled, the Queen was closer, too close. Her antennae brushed the back of his neck, sending a shiver he couldn't control. The tension in the room was unbearable, thick enough to taste. "You are different," she hissed, her voice a strange mixture of music and menace. Kai's mind raced. Different how? Why me? Before he could answer, she lunged, not with violence but with an unexpected grace, folding herself into the smallest space possible, her massive frame curling around him. For a heart-stopping moment, human and alien were locked together, and he realized something shocking. She wasn't attacking. She was surrendering. And then, almost impossibly, she whispered, soft, almost trembling, words that shook him deeper than any battle ever could. "I'm yours." Kai froze, the world tilting around him. Questions screamed in his mind. Why now? Why him? And what did surrender even mean for a creature like her? The alarms blared again, but he didn't move. He couldn't. Because for the first time in humanity's war against the stars, Kai felt something he had never dared hope for: connection. A voice over the comm crackled, urgent. "Lieutenant Nakamura, status report." Kai's heart sank. The galaxy was still at war, and the Queen's surrender might be more dangerous than her attack. But in that instant, wrapped in her impossible presence, he didn't care. The first spark had ignited, and it would either save them all or burn everything down. The Aegis shook as though the universe itself were testing them. Kai kept the Queen pressed against his chest, feeling the strange warmth of her body through the alien exoskeleton. Her mandibles clicked softly, like hesitant words he couldn't yet understand. The bridge was in chaos. Alarms screamed and crew members ducked behind consoles, eyes wide with terror. Yet in that chaos, all Kai could focus on was her. "She's surrendering," a voice shouted over the comms. "Lieutenant, do you copy?" Kai's grip tightened. "Yes, she's not attacking. Not anymore." His words sounded insane even to him. The Queen tilted her head, her eyes, honey gold and impossibly deep, locking onto his. For a fleeting moment, Kai thought he saw vulnerability there, a loneliness he never imagined an apex predator could feel. The alien Queen's ship had followed them through the last jump, and now it hovered outside the Aegis like a shadow draped over the stars. Her fleet was vast, waiting, watching. Any wrong move could ignite a war that would swallow planets. Kai felt the weight of that responsibility pressing down on him. Yet the warmth of her presence was a strange comfort, a fragile bridge across an impossible divide. "Do you trust me?" she whispered, her voice brushing against his ear in a tone that was more human than alien. Kai blinked, unsure if he'd heard her correctly. I have to," he admitted. His heart slammed. There was no going back now. Every instinct screamed danger, but part of him, a part he hadn't acknowledged even to himself, longed to believe her. The first challenge came seconds later. The Queen shuddered, pulling back slightly as a tremor rattled the hull. Through the viewport, a smaller attack ship from her fleet darted forward. Weapons flared. Human defense turrets fired, and the Queen froze, mandibles clattering with alarm. Kai acted without thinking, yanking her down behind a console. "Stay here," he barked, though her presence made him feel both stronger and infinitely more vulnerable. The human crew were shouting, moving like storm-driven leaves, but Kai felt time slow. He glanced at her. Her eyes were wide, uncharacteristically afraid. For the first time, he realized the surrender was not just symbolic. She had chosen him, chosen humanity, chosen him. But the fleet outside would not wait, and the whisper she spoke, soft, dangerous, intimate, hinted at secrets he wasn't ready to uncover. Secrets that could either save them all or destroy everything he had sworn to protect. Kai inhaled sharply. "We're going to have to trust each other," he said. His voice was steadier than he felt. The Queen tilted her head again, and with a tilt so delicate it almost made him laugh, nodded. The shimmer along her skin pulsed gently against him, like a heartbeat syncing with his own. The first shot from the enemy fleet hit the Aegis just meters from the bridge. Sparks flew, and a floor panel cracked. Kai's grip on her tightened instinctively. And then she whispered again, dangerously close, almost intimate, "Do not fail me." Kai's chest tightened. She was no longer just an alien queen. She was a promise, a challenge, and a threat all at once. The bridge erupted into chaos, and Kai realized the war outside was nothing compared to the war inside him. The Aegis shuddered as the alien fleet's energy beams tore through the outer hull. Kai's hands shook on the controls, but he forced himself to stay calm. The Queen's presence behind him was a weight both terrifying and grounding. Her limbs were coiled protectively, her antennae brushing his neck. Every instinct screamed danger, yet he couldn't pull away. Not yet. "Lieutenant," Lieutenant Mara Chen shouted from across the bridge. "The outer defenses won't hold another volley." Kai's eyes darted to the Queen. "I need you," he said, almost without thinking. Her mandibles clicked softly, a sound he was beginning to recognize as a form of acknowledgement. Then, in a move that stunned the entire crew, she pressed her massive form closer, her strange energy pulsating against the hull. The sensors went wild. Energy shields surged, stabilized. The first wave of attack was repelled. Shock and awe rippled across the bridge. Humans stared at her as if they were seeing a living miracle. Kai felt a strange warmth in his chest, pride mixed with fear. She was a weapon, and now she was his. "Why are you helping us?" Kai asked, keeping his voice low. Her eyes softened, and she whispered words that made his stomach twist. "Because I chose you." Kai froze. "Chose me?" The thought was dizzying. The galaxy was screaming around them, yet her voice felt like an anchor in the storm. He wanted to laugh, to cry, to collapse all at once. Instead, he nodded, barely trusting his own breath. Another attack wave hit, more focused, more brutal. The Aegis rocked violently. Kai barked orders, but the Queen moved with him, twisting and reacting as though they were a single entity. Sparks flew around them. A burst of plasma missed them by inches. Her pulse accelerated against his back, and Kai realized his own heartbeat matched hers. When the bridge lights flickered, a stray beam of energy struck the console nearest him. Kai dove, instinctively shielding the Queen. She let out a low hum, a sound that felt almost like laughter, though it vibrated through his chest. Their faces were inches apart in the red glow. He caught a glimpse of her golden eyes reflecting his own, wide with shock and something he could barely name: trust. "Together," he whispered. She responded with a barely audible click, curling closer, the strange heat of her alien body pressing against him in a way that was both protective and intimate. For a heartbeat, the war outside vanished. There was only them, tangled in the impossible. Then the ship's alarm screamed louder. The Queen's fleet was still circling, waiting, and the humans, Kai's people, were beginning to question the price of this fragile alliance. Kai's chest tightened. This wasn't just a battle for survival anymore. It was a battle for connection, for understanding, and for a chance at something no one thought possible: love between human and alien. The next volley of energy hit the ship, and Kai realized the real war was just beginning. Kai staggered to the command console, sweat sliding down his temple. The bridge smelled of ozone and fear. The Queen stayed close, her massive body almost shielding him from the chaos, yet her eyes darted toward the viewscreen with an intensity that made him uneasy. There was something she wasn't saying. "Lieutenant," Mara's voice cut through the alarms, sharp and worried. "We've confirmed movement near the neutral zone. That fleet, your ally, could turn on us any second." Kai swallowed, glancing at the Queen. She stiffened, mandibles clicking in rapid, nervous bursts. His stomach twisted. He realized then she wasn't just a warrior. She was a queen, bound by her own laws and politics. Her surrender had been real, but it had also been dangerous. "Are you hiding something?" Kai asked, his voice low, careful. Her eyes narrowed slightly. "Not hiding, protecting," she murmured. Her voice carried a weight he couldn't measure. She leaned closer, and for a moment her massive form seemed almost fragile. "The humans must not know the truth of my world." Kai's brow furrowed. "What truth?" Before she could answer, a warning light flashed red. Sensors showed a squadron of alien drones approaching fast, their energy signatures unfamiliar. The Queen growled, a deep, resonant sound that rattled Kai's ribs. She lunged toward the console, her appendages moving with terrifying precision. Kai realized then that he had misjudged her surrender. It wasn't weakness, it was strategy. Together, they coordinated a desperate defense. Kai barked orders while she manipulated the ship's energy grid with alien precision. Plasma beams bent around her pulsing form, shields expanded, and the incoming drones were shredded before they could reach the hull. When the chaos subsided, Kai turned to her, breathing hard. His hands hovered near her, almost as if afraid to touch. Why help me?" he asked. She tilted her head, golden eyes softening. "Because I saw you, Kai, not the soldier, not the human fleet. You." His chest tightened. That simple admission in the middle of war and smoke sent warmth spiraling through him. For the first time he realized she wasn't just a weapon or an ally. She was something dangerous, unpredictable, and utterly real. Then came the hesitation, the moment that made him freeze. A crackle of comms, a distorted voice from the Queen's fleet. "She has betrayed us. Recall your forces." The Queen's body stiffened, antennae quivering. She whispered something under her breath, a word Kai couldn't understand. Her skin shimmered, almost like tears of light. He realized her people didn't see this as surrender. They saw it as treason. Kai's hands shook. He didn't just feel the weight of war anymore, he felt the weight of trust, of love. And the terrifying truth hit him: choosing her meant defying an entire species. Before he could speak, the ship shuddered violently. Another strike from the Queen's fleet. Kai's heart pounded, and he realized that survival now wasn't just about skill, it was about faith. Faith in the impossible, faith in her. She leaned close, voice trembling yet firm. "If we fail, it will be my fault." Kai grabbed her massive hands gently. "No," he said, voice steady despite the chaos. "It's ours." Outside, the enemy fleet pressed closer, and the Aegis trembled. Inside, Kai and the Queen stood together, an impossible pair against the impossible odds. And in that moment, the first flicker of true intimacy bloomed in the shadow of war. The Aegis shuddered violently, metal groaning under the repeated impact of alien fire. Kai pressed himself against the console, trying to keep his thoughts sharp. Every crew member was tense, shouting commands, but his focus was only on her, the Queen. She crouched beside him, her massive form somehow curling into the limited space, shimmering under the bridge lights. Her mandibles clicked softly, almost like a rhythm that only he could hear. Kai, she whispered, her voice unusually calm amid the chaos. You trust me, yes. He hesitated, chest tightening. Outside, the Queen's own fleet circled like vultures, ready to punish her for surrendering. Inside, he felt the pull of something he'd never admitted, even to himself. I do, he said. Her eyes softened, golden light glowing faintly as she extended one clawed hand. Kai instinctively reached for it. Their fingers touched, and an electric shock of warmth ran up his arm. The rest of the bridge vanished. For a heartbeat, there was no war, no fleet, no alarms, just the alien Queen and him. I never thought, Kai started, voice catching, that I'd feel this with someone like you. Her antennae twitched, brushing against his cheek. And I never thought, she replied, voice trembling slightly, that surrender could feel like safety. The intimacy of the moment was shattered by a violent jolt. The ship lurched, and a secondary blast tore a hole through the corridor behind them. Crew members screamed. Kai spun, instinct taking over, dragging her back from the edge. Her mandibles clicked in alarm, but she didn't resist. Instead, she pressed closer, letting him guide her to safety. And in that close, desperate contact, Kai realized that their connection wasn't just emotional, it was survival. They were stronger together, an impossible alliance fused by trust and growing desire. When the immediate danger passed, Kai found himself holding her close, the warmth of her alien body radiating into his. She leaned into him, her voice a whisper that trembled with unfamiliar vulnerability. I am yours, Kai, completely. His chest tightened so sharply it was almost painful. He wanted to laugh, to cry, to collapse all at once. And I am yours, he breathed. The words felt heavier than any order, braver than any battle. Then the comms crackled again. A voice from her fleet, distorted and angry. Recall your queen. You will answer for this treachery. The Queen's body tensed, and for a fleeting moment, Kai saw fear. The raw, unfiltered fear of being torn from him. Her trust had been absolute, and now it was threatened by the world she had abandoned for him. Kai held her tighter, whispering against her exoskeleton, "No one will take you from me." Her glow pulsed brighter in response, and Kai realized that the surrender, the trust, and the whisper of intimacy had done more than save them. It had created a bond that could defy empires. Outside, enemy ships loomed like jagged shadows. Inside, a human and an alien queen stood together, bound not by duty but by choice, and by something far stronger. And for the first time, Kai understood the terrifying power of love in the middle of war. The alarms of the Aegis screamed louder than ever. Red light bathed the bridge, and the metal groaned under the assault of the Queen's fleet. Kai's hands shook on the controls, but he forced himself to focus. The Queen's massive form pressed against him, her warmth a defiant comfort in the chaos, yet he could feel tension radiating off her. She was hiding something, and he feared it would destroy them both. Lieutenant Nakamura, the comm crackled, distorted. Your queen has betrayed us. Engage her or she dies. Kai froze, betrayal. The Queen's eyes met his, golden, fierce, desperate, and in that instant he realized she hadn't betrayed anyone but herself by choosing him, choosing humanity. She had risked everything for him, and now the galaxy demanded payment. Hold on, he said, voice steady even as his heart pounded. We're not giving up, not her, not us. The Queen's antennae twitched nervously. Mandibles clicked softly, almost like a shiver. Then she did something Kai never expected. With a surge of alien energy, she interfaced with the ship's systems, redirecting power in ways no human could understand. Shields flared, cannons recalibrated, and for a moment the attacking ships faltered. Kai watched her, awe and fear tangled together. You saved us, he said, voice trembling. Her gaze softened. I will protect you, she whispered. Her pulse radiated through the hull, syncing with his heartbeat, even if it costs me everything. A new wave of drones tore through the outer hull. Sparks rained down the corridors. Kai grabbed her hand instinctively, holding her close as the ship rocked violently. She pressed against him, her massive body curling around his slim frame. For a moment, it wasn't about battle strategy or survival. It was about them. Just them. "I'm yours," she murmured again, softer this time, almost vulnerable. "Completely." Kai's chest ached. The enormity of her trust, her surrender, and her affection hit him like a tidal wave. "And I'm yours," he replied, voice cracking. "I won't let them take you." The enemy fire intensified. Kai knew their odds were impossibly low, yet the bond between him and the Queen had become something stronger than fear. It was defiance, courage, and love rolled into a single, unbreakable force. Then came the breach alarm, hull integrity dropping fast. Kai glanced at the Queen, panic clawing at him. Her eyes met his, steady and unwavering. For a heartbeat, time slowed. War, betrayal, danger, all of it faded. Only trust remained. Kai's hand pressed against hers. "We fight together, always." Her golden eyes shimmered, antennae brushing his cheek. "Always," she echoed. Outside, the enemy fleet hesitated, sensing the unnatural unity inside the human ship. Inside, Kai and the Queen clung to each other, ready to face the impossible together. The war wasn't over, but for the first time, Kai realized that no force in the galaxy could break what they had built. And in that moment, the Aegis wasn't just a warship. It was a cradle for something utterly extraordinary, an alliance forged in fire, trust, and love. The bridge of the Aegis shook violently, alarms screaming and sparks flying across the polished metal floor. Kai gritted his teeth, gripping the console, but his eyes never left the Queen. Her enormous form was coiled around him protectively, glowing faintly under the flickering red lights. Every pulse of her energy seemed to echo in his chest. The enemy fleet had surrounded them, weapons primed, fury in every blink of their distant lights. Kai's stomach twisted. One wrong move and the Queen, his impossible, magnificent ally, would be destroyed. And he would lose more than a queen. He would lose the only being who had ever truly understood him. "She is mine," Kai muttered under his breath, a quiet declaration that carried more weight than any command he could issue. The Queen's antennae twitched, brushing against his neck. Her mandibles clicked softly, almost like laughter, or was it agreement? For a fleeting second, the war outside vanished. There was only them, two beings from different worlds, bound together by choice, by trust, by something far stronger than survival. "Lieutenant," the comm crackled, distorted and urgent. "Your Queen, engage or be destroyed." Kai turned to her. "We don't fight alone," he said. He took her clawed hand in his, feeling the shock of warmth surge between them. "We fight together, always." Her golden eyes shimmered, wide and unwavering. Then she did something incredible. Her energy pulsed outward, bending the Aegis's shields into shapes no human mind could comprehend. The enemy fire struck her energy first, scattering like brittle glass. Every pulse she emitted reinforced the ship, protected the crew, and drove back the fleet inch by terrifying inch. Kai's heart thundered. The impossible was happening. His hand found the curve of her neck. "I trust you," he whispered. Her mandibles clicked softly, and she pressed closer, voice trembling, intimate. "I'm yours completely." The words hit him like a tidal wave. Every battle, every sacrifice, every moment of fear led to this. He pressed his forehead to hers, closing his eyes, letting the chaos of war fade into the warmth of her embrace. "And I'm yours," he said, voice breaking with emotion. The enemy fleet faltered, confused by the unprecedented unity. Human and alien, human and Queen, had become one in purpose and spirit. The bridge lights flickered as the Aegis surged forward, propelled by courage, trust, and the extraordinary bond between them. Outside, the stars stretched like ribbons of fire. Inside, Kai held her close, the impossible reality settling into every fiber of his being. The galaxy could rage and burn around them. They had chosen each other, and that choice was stronger than any weapon. For the first time in history, an alien queen surrendered, not to fear, not to defeat, but to love. And in Kai's arms, she whispered once more, soft and intimate. "I'm yours." Kai smiled through tears, heart pounding. "And I'm yours always." The Aegis surged forward into the unknown, carrying two souls who had defied the universe itself, bound together by trust, sacrifice, and the extraordinary power of love. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, and for the first time humanity and the galaxy saw what it meant to fight for something more than survival. They saw what it meant to fight for love.